The views and opinions expressed by participants in the following public affairs program do not necessarily reflect the position or beliefs of WDEF or its staff.
Since 1954, this is Point of View, the world record-holding public affairs program produced at the studios of WDEF-TV Chattanooga and with underwriting community support.
Welcome back to Point of View. I'm Melody Shikari, co-host and producer here on Point of View with my fellow co-host, Amy Alara.
And we have our executive producer and host, Maurice Lewis, Nikki Nicholson, and certified life coach, Dr. David Banks.
So this week is Thanksgiving, but we're going to talk about a very serious topic that has hit close to home, sexual assault and what's going on, where we have been in the past, where we are right now today after the last few months, and where we're going in the future. So who wants to kick us off on this special edition of a roundtable here at Point of View?
I'll use the word allegations, because that's what everybody is saying. Did it really happen? And from the president on down, I don't believe that you should believe that those lying women are telling the truth. That's basically what he's saying. And I find that very troublesome.
I agree. I mean, I think that this issue is one that did not pop up overnight, that didn't start happening in 2017. It's happened for a very long time. But there's a lot of different angles. Is there any angle in particular you think hasn't been discussed, Nikki?
Oh, well, right now, Hollywood. Right now, it's just popping up every day. There's a new one such as Terry Crews. You know, he was a linebacker for I believe the 49ers. And it was a Hollywood producer, a very high-ranked Hollywood producer who grabbed his genitals. And he's been screaming out since last year, and he was told by Russell Simmons, tweeted Russell Simmons, just give him a pass. Why don't you just give him a pass? And that's what's going on. So from the churches to Hollywood to even politics, I feel like a lot of people, because of their power, have been given many passes.
And I know you have a special opinion on passes.
I do.
What is that?
No one gets a pass.
No hall
No
passes.
one. No hall pass.
No hall pass. Not when Nikki's around.
That's right.
Well, Dr. Banks, I mean, what do you think about this issue? And you're a certified life coach. You've talked to a lot of people in your career, and you're a male, so that's great to have that perspective on the show. It's a tough spot to be in, I think, when you have all these allegations and all these things coming up.
Yeah, Dr. Banks, come on, speak up for our own manhood.
Well, you know, looking at this situation and working with ladies that have come to me and confided, and, you know, the biggest thing is, you know, everybody is looking now, it's like, why are they bringing it up now? And they look at that, since the timing seemingly is wrong, then they try to negate what the person is saying. And I think it's really important that people really be careful and realize these are these people's lives. And most people's like, well, why they didn't come out later. But I think when you're looking at a situation where a woman maybe just started her career and her CEO comes onto her, she's going to think, what if I say something? You know, he has the power, I don't. They're definitely going to believe him and not me. So I can see why some of the ladies really kind of held this thing close, because they felt like if I say something, that could really jeopardize my career.
Yeah, I think people fear lashback, and is anything going to happen, or is it only going to get worse for me? I think that's the reason why it does go unreported, because a lot of companies and places don't have formal procedures to levy a grievance without that fear, do it anonymously.
Right.
Do you think that feeds
I mean, that was the
Safe to
Charlie
say.
Rose issue, right?
Yeah.
No
What a
HR
surprise
say
with
that.
that one. And a privately owned company. The boss is HR.
That's right.
So who do
Exactly.
you go to?
That's
Yeah.
very true.
And when you go to talk about Congress and elected officials, you talk about these confidentiality agreements, which literally forbid you to talk even to your therapist about what has happened.
Right.
So now who do you go to? Because
Yeah.
if you say something, the settlement goes away and you are liable for prosecution.
Right, and I believe it's also safe to say that, say you go through all the steps you're supposed to go to, you go to HR, and you still, when you come back to work, your colleagues are still looking at you and saying, you know, it wasn't that bad.
That's right.
Or did it
You know,
really happen?
It didn't really happen, or it happens to all of us. You know, all you have to do is ignore it. You know he didn't mean it. That's just the type of person he or she is. When is it ever not okay?
And the things that I've looked at as far as the research, you know, if a woman does go to the police, the way the police officer is asking questions, making her feel like, did you do anything? Did you dress a certain way?
Are you making too big a deal out of this? You brought it on yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the lady feels like, wow,
And
you
that
know, I
brings
really don't
shame
want to
onto
go through
them.
that.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Last year I went to, I cannot remember the name right now, but Take Back the Night at UTC's campus. And these were young women telling their stories of sexual assault, often not scripted. I mean, literally there was an open mic and they decided to go up. By the way, if anybody in town is ever invited to go, I highly recommend it because these stories are powerful. But I talked to a police officer that was part of UTC's campus, and he was telling me that as an officer, it took them a while to realize that their line of questioning was perceived as more aggressive. Wow. They thought this is what we do when there's a crime. We ask these questions, we want to know the details, and we didn't realize that they're victims and we have to treat them differently. Right. Otherwise, they think that they're not believed when that's not necessarily the case, but we just didn't know how to change procedures. So at least in some parts of Chattanooga, I think that there are some fine people working here that are really trying to change the culture. He admitted that the culture within, you know, his group of folks that he works with, it can be hard. It's not an
I'd like
easy.
to see some sensitive classes going on at work when it comes to authority, even with police officers, and even on a regular just 9-to-5 job. You know, sensitivity as far as how do you treat situations like that.
As we're looking forward toward remedies, we have to look back to see how did this grow? What happened? Beauty contests, you're supposed to exhibit. If men are hunters, as we are conditioned to believe, this is what we do. In nature, only the strongest mate, and you go after whomever it is. So people tend to emulate the animals, which is how they found out what was good to eat and what was good to go get water. So the human sexual side, yeah, I think we have to kind of look at that. What role does Hollywood play, or did it play, in terms of how sexualized it was get, and the inability of some people to realize that that's not going to work anymore.
Right. Hollywood, well, and social media as well. With them both, when it comes to young women, and they see, well, you're supposed to wear your clothes like that. You're supposed to wear your jeans like that. This is how I get likes, but they're not necessarily saying this is how I want you to just reach out and disrespect me. When it comes to the young men, you know, in the music videos or even on TV, you know, they say, oh, this is how I'm supposed to come off to a woman. You know?
You suggesting that the lyrics and the language of the music?
Surely not.
Well,
absolutely.
The videos,
Yeah.
very much so.
I mean,
it's a culture that we're creating, and in that we're creating a beast.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and now we don't know what to do with it. How do we? Now we just try to sweep it under the rug. You know, did he really do that?
It's all innocent and fun and games. It's just this, it's just that, until it's real or it happens to you, I think. But with Hollywood, there is a trend. I feel like there was the casting couch and give them a pass, but now that so many people are coming forward, I think artists are rallying to say you should be able to be a creative, artistic person in this industry and not have to pay that price.
Absolutely.
And I think there's strength in numbers, and it just takes one person to come forward, and then it validates that, well, it happened to me too, and people find strength in that. Whereas if you're the only one going forward about an assault, whether it be at work or in Hollywood, you think, is it going to be taken seriously? And that could be why it's taken so long. That it's a floodgate of people.
And I think that's why the power in numbers.
Exactly.
As you see one lady shares, and all of a sudden another one, because they feel empowered. Like, okay, this is my story, but someone else has a similar story, so.
It's not in my head.
So
this
that
is
explains
real.
why when some person comes forward about one particular person, it's like they come out the woodworks and like, well, where are these women come from? Where did they come from?
But I want to bring up a subject we haven't talked about. That's the sound of silence. Organized religion has kept its holy mouth closed about all of this.
That's a good point.
So we need to be talking about that. Where is this collective voice of the moral majority? What do they have to say? Here we have, see, I guess there's a Alabama version of religion where it's okay for a grown man to go with minors, as this one preacher said, well, Mary was a minor.
Right. I think that was a false. I mean, there are these diversionary tactics that you see
I totally agree.
that are, I mean, the
don't even know
playbook
how they
of
could
political
stand on that.
communication, right?
Yeah.
Divert from the actual issue. Don't talk about what's actually going on. Talk about too long.
Find loopholes.
But I think one thing that folks often bring up is the truth. Is it the truth or not? And as someone who listens to podcasts, and I've heard and know that there are cases in the law where people would accuse the male, and oftentimes it was in the South, and it was a black male, of rape or sexual assault, and they were doing that because they got caught in a compromising situation. They wanted to get off. They were doing this in a court of law. So when the power is shifting as it is right now, what are the potential ramifications and ramifications we've seen already of people?
In the South, that would be the Scottsboro boys.
Yes.
15
Right.
guys that got caught up in that, and a young man from Chicago who became a car celeb, Emmett Till.
Yes.
And
Yes.
a white female said he whistled at her, and you know what happened to him.
Yes.
So, there are a lot of instances where you might say that this happened, but so many women coming out publicly, this is not easy for them to do, Amy.
Yeah, no, it's not.
And then when you see the men, some men stepped up and say, I'm sorry. I realize what I've done years ago. But then you see people in denial and make as if all of these ladies are lying, and somehow it seems they can just keep moving.
And it's okay, it's accepted.
The PR book, though, is not to do the Kevin Spacey answer, right? don't blame it on multiple. Don't put multiple issues in the same tweet, because you might not ever get a job again.
It seems like coming forward sooner and documenting it too, or if you're scared to come forward, email yourself every day about what happened. There's a timestamp on that. Now with technology, we can have that be
That's right.
a voice of reason or backup. If you didn't say something, but you at least emailed either yourself or your husband, your coworker, there's proof right there.
That's right.
And that gives it more validation, I believe.
A little bit more weight.
Exactly, yeah. But the best thing is just to come forward right away, wouldn't you agree?
Well,
But
I
it's
would
easier
say
said
that,
than
but
done.
again, it depends on what you're dealing with. Like I said, if you entry-level secretary and you're dealing with a boss and he comes on to you and he touches you, you try to go out soon, they're going to say, he's a CEO.
Yeah.
I don't know that I
out,
agree
that's
with
sad.
that. When it happens, you go against it. If someone comes up and touches you that you don't know in a supermarket, you are not going to wait to say something. Back off, get away from me, or to bring some attention.
People giving out samples?
Exactly.
Well,
Don't want your perfume.
I think there are a lot of women that are not confrontational. They don't want the conflict. Maybe they don't feel strong. So we were
does the
talking.
male take advantage of that?
I think they know how to pick them out sometimes too.
Well,
you
if
pick
you're
the
a predator,
secretary.
you know your prey.
Yeah.
You know who to
Right.
prey upon, so.
Yeah.
So maybe having confidants that you can talk to that are older women that can kind of encourage you through that process might be some way to help, because it's hard to say no to somebody. It's hard to, I've personally gotten suggestive comments while running for office. The congressional thing was kind of funny to me. These are senators getting groped by other senators.
Right.
There's not even an imbalance in power in DC, but they have no HR department, so no one,
Something that I'm watching is the chilling effect that I think the President of the United States is trying to use to smother dissent. To smother. He's throwing his weight behind this judge, who is Alabama infamous, to say, I love women, but they're all liars. Because it touches him. Look, we have him on video and on tape saying what he does.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And he turns around and says, we're going to vote this guy in. I'm going to say that I'm for him. And in effect, what it is, it's a chilling effect on anybody else, because we powerful men will come together and say you shouldn't be believed. Wow.
Well, trust me, the backlash, I think, is happening. But this is a fascinating discussion. This time really flew by. So I want to thank everybody for being on this roundtable. We probably should. It was a little more lively than I expected for pre-Thanksgiving. What you didn't talk about over the Thanksgiving dinner table on the next Point of View.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
Perception is reality, especially in the world of illusion. I'm Donna Christian Lowe, your co-host and senior producer on this edition of Point of View. Joining me today is our executive producer and host of Point of View, Maurice Lewis. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, but that's not the special part of today's show.
It is not. This gentleman, Jada Maxwell, he is the man of all trades. Illusion, public speaking, and motivation, all in one.
Try to be. So
yeah, that was a pretty good intro.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We're going to do something kind of quick here. A pack of cards.
How many cards?
A pack of cards. I don't know how many are here, but I'll tell you
52
what.
52 normally.
52, okay.
You'll see, if I'm missing some, you'll see why.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, Donna, why don't you just hold my wallet there for me. You'll see the little flap there. Now, you don't see too many men doing
For a man giving a woman his wallet,
yes.
this is
okay,
dangerous.
Maurice, just touch one, anyone you want. That one right there.
Yep.
I'm going to take the card, turn it face up. Ooh, a jack. Jack of spades. I got a marker here. You're going to take the marker right there on the border, just write your name right there for me.
How about if I just put something
there you go.
recognize?
All right. Your turn too. There you
Me
go.
too?
Right there. Yep. Got it. There you go. Just like this.
It could have been a blank check, which is why I didn't write letters.
The jumping jack. Watch, just like this. You guys can see it. I'm going to show everybody so they can see.
Jumping
one for
jack.
you, one for you. Watch right down into the center like this. And it should be done now. Now be honest with me. Now, did you feel anything funny or phony?
No.
You didn't feel anything funny? I'm going to pass these off to Maurice here. Look, you'll notice that I have a little flap right here onto the wallet. I'm going to open everything up. There's a zipper. Can you see the zipper there?
I do.
I'm going to open the zipper up. My hand's empty. Inside this little zipper, I actually keep folded up. I'm going to let you take that out. Unfold that for me. Yep. And that is the world's fastest hands right there.
Speechless. I don't even know what to say.
This is why they call you a world-class illusionist, but you didn't get that way.
Wasn't born that way. Took a time to master it. It's illusion and astonishment, magic and wonder, amazement has always been a part of my life, and it seems like to me as a boy, I wanted that not to end, and I found a way to make it work, and that was by opening up a book and studying these moves and these words, and I learned how to present them, and it became something when someone else would gasp or, oh my God, it was a way that I could relive my childhood. And so every single day, I think it keeps me young.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is you talk to students, children, adults, but I like the contrast of that perception and reality. Looking into your information, I have a 12-year-old, how do I communicate certain realities to him? And you kind of put it out there in your face, but through the illusion. Talk about that, and how and why is that effective?
Well, I think that these days children need something that's more than just
magic.
Yeah, I would say magic,
but there's a difference between magic and an illusion.
There is, there is
is
absolutely. So I am an illusionist. I don't create magic. Magic to me is a feeling of emotion, that sense of astonishment and a childlike hope, knowing if you still believe and you want it enough, anything is possible. That is magic.
Okay.
I create illusion. The feeling that you feel is the magic. Now, getting back to where you're talking about a 12-year-old and how to connect with them, is you have to get on their level. You have to strip all the technology, all that stuff away sometimes, and you have to hit them where it really counts, and that's the heart. And you have to get on their level, and you have to see what they're going through. Yeah. You have to see through their eyes what they're going through. And so my thing is being in the schools, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, even universities. There's still transformations going on in universities.
Well, adults, there's a lot of transformations
Absolutely.
going on. So how do you use this to entice adults to do?
I think it's I think it's a way of communication. I don't immediately walk up to someone, unless it's a child, and say, hey, you want to watch a trick or anything like that. I try to say, hey, what's going on? Have you guys had a good day? And they say, yes. Well, I say, oh, that comes to a crashing halt, no more fun. Or kind of cut up with them a little bit. And there's mystery. It automatically intrigues them. Who is this character and what does he...
Well, one of the reasons why you're here is because we're going into a season now of thanks and of holidays. And this is a period when a lot of people may get a little depressed. They're thinking about what they can't buy, how much debt they're going to be in. So to bring a little levity and cheer, and also the magic of the illusion, what else will you do for us today?
Well, I've got a few things. Talking about connecting, I've got this right here. This belonged to my mentor, one of my mentors actually, one of my teachers. His name was Dean. It's got his little sticker right here on the bottom here, the magic of Dean. He passed away a few years ago, and it destroyed the magic community. He was such a great guy. But it's a box. I mean, you've seen them on stage before, you know, all that kind of things. This is just a kind of a scaled down version. And on my honor, there's just 2 little windows here. There's nothing really trickery about this box, but the magic happens inside. So it creates the element of mystery and wonder. Now, I want to tell you, it's got a front to it. It's got a top to it as well. I'm going to tilt that forward so you guys can see here. That opens up, okay? The magic actually happens inside the box. But we're going to use these 2 things right here to demonstrate. So I'll give one to you, Marie. So I'll give one to you, Donna. Just if you don't mind, just pull on it, tug on it. You got it?
Give me the red one.
Yep, give you the red one. And I'm going to have you hold the middle just like this. And I'm going to have you hold the middle. If you were going to connect these 2 right now, how would you go about doing it? Without letting go of the ends. Completely make them link.
Yes.
Almost impossible.
Right.
It's not impossible.
With one hand.
Yeah, with one hand. It would not be impossible. It wasn't impossible for an illusionist. It's not impossible for Dean Dill. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave it on the table there so you can see. I've got one coming up this way.
Okay.
Okay, so you can kind of see what's going on here. Okay. And it'll go up in just a second. Donna, if you don't mind, just put the middle inside the box. I'm going to show everybody on the inside what's going on there, okay? Here's the idea. I'm going to reach up through the top of the box. I'm going to turn it so I can do this, so I can reach up through here. I'm going to reach up through the middle of the box here.
Keeping my eyes on it.
Don't take your eye off of it, please, whatever you do. I'm having a hard time grabbing these. We're going to pull everything up just like this, okay? And you can see now that the ropes are actually linked.
Wow.
Now study that just for a second. It's almost like one of those optical illusions that you see with the little magic eye thing, but I want you to see the ends have never left your sight. Donna, if you don't mind, just grab the middles and pull those all the way up, keeping them connected.
Keep them connected.
Yeah, keep them connected all the way through. They're still connected, and I'm going to show you the inside, so I don't want you to think there's any trapdoors, anything funny or phony, okay? Now, a lot of people, when they see that, they think, well, it's you know, a trick box or trick ropes or something. That's why I have people check it out. And again, on my honor, there's nothing funny or phony. So can you just take the ropes there, hold on to them there, and you can see on the inside here, what I've got on the inside, they're completely linked. In my world of magic and illusion, my goal is to connect as many people as we can through heart, through soul, through mind, and it creates mystery and wonder. You see here now they're unlinked. The middles have never left your, excuse me, the ends have never left your sight. If you just take that one and pull that one up, I'm going to pull this one up at the same time, and you'll see that they truly are completely unlinked.
This is part of what you do in real life. You tend to bring harmony and joy and connect people.
Real life.
Now, you've done your act and your magic here. Where else have you worked?
There's several cities and pretty much every state that you can think of. I try to stay in the United States. I've had calls to go outside, but I think that love still exists. It's still out there. You've got to search for it. It's not just going to come to you, but it's found in different areas. And my gift is to be able to share that with as many people possible. If I can stay right here in the States where I feel that it's needed, then absolutely.
Well, you are kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to this. You're a motivational speaker,
I do.
Public speaker.
Correct.
You do this, but you also have other jobs. But let's talk about what you have coming up.
Sure.
Because the Night of Astonishment is what we know everybody's talking about. But
Correct.
how did you come up with the Night of Astonishment?
It's actually an evening of astonishment.
Evening, thank you.
Because some people think all night goes all night. So
this is true. This is true.
But it was one of my other mentors. He wrote a book and was telling people that I'm writing a book on magic, and they were kind of like, And then he just started telling people, hey, I'm writing a book on astonishment. And they're like, wow, let me know when you get done with it.
Yeah.
I want to read it. So astonishment, it means great surprise.
Great surprise.
We know what great means, something marvelous, you know, something wonderful. And surprise, an unexpected shock that you just don't see coming. Unexpected, shock, surprise. So that's what it is, astonishment. And it's not just magic or illusion.
Yeah.
It's me, my story, where I've been. There's storytelling, there's humor, there's dance, there's comedy, there's...
But it's also been your presence, too, and you've been a consistent presence on our show and Point of View. Whenever we've needed you, you've come back.
And I appreciate it, yes.
And also for our audience, I want to let you know just how giving this man is for places where we would not expect you with your busy schedule to show up, to entertain people, to give people who don't have much hope. I've seen you work at a hospice center where there's no hope for the people that are there. It's just to make them comfortable and give them something to look forward to. And when I looked up, you were there.
If you can just touch somebody just one time, just touch the heart one time, that's real magic. I mean, that's all it takes. And you've got to want it. These days, people are just like, what can I have? Gimme, 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 gimme. But if you just decide to search your heart and to give it to someone else, magic can be created. It doesn't have to be a card trick. It doesn't have to, that's just my gift. My children can walk in the door and they can tell me how their day was and how they had a laugh at school and how they talked to someone about their faith or, you know, how they had fun at lunch or this, that, and the other, and it connects. And the next day I can see that child and walking my son to school and them saying, hey, Briston did this, or, you know, Kemper did that, you know, which are my children's name. And it's, you know, it lights them up, and it's a way of connecting. And we all need that. We all need that.
So when you think about where you're going as a professional, and people are now, the viewers are looking at this, they know a lot more about you this time. We're not doing all tricks
Correct.
today. So I think people are going to see deeper into you, and that's great for the holidays, like Maurice said.
But this last piece won't be a trick, but is there something else you would want to do before we go? And do we have time?
Absolutely, yeah, I can.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and how do they find you while you're getting ready? How do they find you on Facebook?
www.jadenmaxwell.com. You can go to my Facebook, which is Jaden Maxwell. It's Jaden, no Y. Everybody's like, why?
Right.
So the show is December 9th. It's at 6:30.
Barking Legs
The Barking
Theater?
Legs Theater. You
We
can
know
go
where that
to
is?
eventbrite.com. Type in Jaden Maxwell for tickets, or you can go to Facebook and hit me up on my fan page.
Well, some of us hope to be there.
Yes, and it's going to be a night of astonishment.
Like
so we have 2 rubber bands. Watch what happens here. This one is a very, very unique thing. They're linked completely together. There's no way out or over, but one band at a time, they actually melt right through. One more time. One more time. Watch. No way out, no way over. No way out, no way over. And one band at a time.
For some people, this is the way life seems to work for them until they find their path.
Hold your fingers out like this. Yeah, absolutely. One here, got it?
Yep.
One there, okay? You're gonna, you
sorry,
got it?
Got it.
Hold on to it.
Trying.
It's okay. Turn this way just a little bit.
Okay.
And I want everyone at home to see exactly what's going on. I'm gonna kind of duck down here so everybody can see. Watch, right there. It's completely together, right? Watch. Just like this. In a moment's time, we can connect, we can unconnect just as much, and it's important to stay connected. That is my favorite word, by the way. You'll hear me say it all the time.
So we look forward to seeing you at Barking Legs.
Yes.
It's December 9th at 6:30 on Dodds Avenue. It's 1309 Dodds Avenue. Eventbrite.com for tickets, or Jaden Maxwell.
It's a fantastic little facility. You know, there's a lot of things that happen there. Plus, you can look at our Facebook.
And if you guys want to see one of my hidden talents, come watch. There's going to be some good stuff.
Oh, he dances too. Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be lots of fun. So.
Nice. Well, we appreciate you coming today, and we know you're going to be back, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Harvey Weinstein, Donald Trump, Roy Moore. The culture of sexual harassment and more when Point of View continues.